Hey, what's up? My name's Grant Kanoki. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and artist, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
Hello everyone, this is writer, director, and illustrator Jason Ragosta inviting you to tune in this Monday, September 26th, to hear myself and the amazing Stephen Cuoco talk about my upcoming release of my feature film, Symphony. It's a horror anthology that was born of Clubhouse. I'm going to tell the story of how me and a bunch of other lovely people created this thing. And you can tune in, like I said, Monday, September 26th at 1 p.m. on Power 98.5 and hear all about it. We hope you'll join us. And until then, have a great day.
We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5. You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your #1 resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 satellite radio.
Hi guys, I'm Sam Fricker. I'm an Australian Olympic diver, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and you are live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 satellite radio. We had the golden opportunity to have interviewed Mr. Oliver Trevina. He's got the Cali Water. Him and Ms. Vanessa Hudgens definitely was a great talk this morning. If you heard that at 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you haven't, take a listen on iHeart, Spotify, Amazon Music, Amazon Audible, and we will have it in the Power 98.5 satellite radio schedule. So just head on over to power985.com, click on the live radio tab, and scroll all the way down, and you will be able to see all the lineup, or what's in the lineup, whether it's a top 40, Catherine and Company, Resilient You with Alicia Pazzoni, as well as Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco. We also have special editions that we are airing on Power 98.5. So don't forget, and please let all of your friends and family know, to download the Power 98.5 satellite radio iOS and Android app. Tune in on Alexa, whether it be in your home, in your car, or anywhere out and about. You can take Power 98.5 satellite radio with you. We've got, again, my very good friend, writer, director, illustrator, Jason Ragosta. Jason is a horror writer, director, and illustrator. He has written and directed multiple short films, including Boy in the Dark, ZTV Symphony for the Devil, and Mother Love. He is also a writer and illustrator of ZTV, Undead Empire, a graphic novel expansion of his ZTV universe. By day, Jason serves as the editorial manager at Halon Entertainment, an NEP Virtual Studio Company. Jason, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Steve. Always a pleasure to be here.
And it's always a pleasure to see your face, and you know that promo video. I appreciate you going out of your way doing that. Everyone loves to watch them.
Oh, it's no problem at all. It was fun.
So congratulations. The last time we spoke, it was in the making. We talked about it, we heard about it, and now it is real. It is official. The film is debuting.
It is. It's so exciting. Yeah, the last time we talked, I think, was like right after we had completed it, completed our segment of the film, Mother Love. And then all this crazy stuff happened afterward, and festival runs for ZTV. And, you know, we went to Comic-Con with Symphony and all of that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, it was super, super exciting. And yeah, now we're going to be premiering at the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival on October 15th. We're actually in the afternoon. It's like 3:25 p.m. EST, and that's going to be the world premiere of the film, which is so exciting. And then we'll have a second chance for people that are in Columbus, Ohio. We're also going to have our Midwest premiere at the Nightmares Film Festival, and that takes place from October 20th through the 23rd. And we're not able to really talk about. It hasn't been announced when it's going to be yet, but that information will be on my social channels if people check it out. And then the film actually comes out officially on October 21st in theaters and VOD streaming. So it's very exciting. Yeah, our little film has grown into a reasonable sized oak, apparently. So we're very proud of it and excited.
It's been a year, right?
Yeah. And it's crazy because, originally, so the whole thing started when we were on the Clubhouse app late one night, and we were talking to one of the best human beings in the universe, Sebastian Bazille, and he had a group of us that all loved horror. We were talking about films like Christine and Firestarter and all these old like crazy horror films, Hellraiser. And he was like, well, we all love horror films. Why don't we make a horror anthology? And all of us were like, yeah, let's do that. That'd be cool. And then our buddy Hank Pena, who was in the room, turned in a script within 4 hours. He got so excited. And then Sebastian took the whole thing seriously. And then the rest of us had scripts to him within the next couple days. We had a writer's room meeting over Zoom that lasted 7 hours, I think a week and a half later. We addressed any notes, and then we got the kind of green light to go shoot. They sent us a little bit of money. And then the first two shot within 2 weeks. That was Mark A. Pritchard, who's an amazing writer, director, and author. And then my buddy J-Dubs, Mr. Jason Wilkinson. Those guys, I don't know how they shot so fast. We had a lot to prepare on ours. But these guys got that thing out there. And then what was cool is by the time Fangoria did the first article on us, we had these beautiful frames from what Jason and Mark had shot. And then I had illustrated a pre-production poster that was the skeleton with the cello and the fire. So we looked pretty cool and like we really had our act together when that article came out. And then the next step in the chain was when our other executive producer, Michael Galvin, he cut this amazing trailer. He worked so hard on it. He's worked as a professional editor and all kinds of other things in the film business before, for very big organizations like the actual channels on TV and stuff like ABC, that kind of thing, NBC. And he cut this amazing trailer, and then that's the point when people started to take us seriously, and I was able to leverage that into us getting a Comic-Con panel at the Comic-Con special edition in November, which was an amazing event where, we all traveled to San Diego. We had only talked on this app, on the Clubhouse app, basically every day for months or whatever it was. But this was the first time we were all meeting in person, and it was such a magical, amazing experience. There was like 30 to 40 people at our panel from basically Clubhouse or people we met through that, which was insane. And it was just the best time. That week was so amazing. And then we all went to LA together and kind of had this other event where like 100 people showed up. And, this was still during COVID. Like people weren't really having events like that. So it was such a overwhelming experience to just be around people again. And then, in celebration of this film that we had put together, it was really magical. We had finished the film though within 7 months of that initial meeting in the Clubhouse room, that's a very quick turnaround to complete a feature film, even a horror anthology. So it was pretty very, very cool stuff.
Is there going to be a sequel?
They're currently working on, it won't be entitled Symphony, but they are working on a second Clubhouse horror anthology right now with an amazing group of writers and directors. I'm really excited for it, actually. They're going to go into production soon on that. And this one's kind of bigger in scale and budget and everything. And I can't wait to see what they do with it. It's going to be really cool. So yes, there will be a follow-up coming So stay tuned for that.
Well, I hope to see, you know, if you remember, you know, when I'm not a fan. I'm a huge ally and advocate to people. So being your ally and your advocate for you and your team, and especially a big shout out to Mark Pritchard. Thank you for the follow on Instagram, and I am following you back. Jason Cohen and Chris Hahn from Netflix. I hope to see them in one of these projects.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to work with them. I mean, they have a great look. I could totally see them as like the boyfriend who might be a killer, you know. They totally have that vibe, or like brothers in something, you know, that we could. They seem like they'd be a lot of fun to work with and would do a great job. So basically, you know, hand them a knife, cover them in blood. We're in a good place, basically.
And you're going to grab Netflix's attention because they're still under contract, and you know, this could be a really, really great, without knowing, relationship that can be a win-win for everyone. Yeah,
you know, I certainly would love to do that and just do some great work with them, you know, and make something cool that people will like. So yeah, that'll be amazing.
Awesome. Keep me posted on that. And you know I'm here. Mark Pritchard, he had shared on Instagram saying, "Thank you, Dark Sky Films, for getting behind us and launching us stateside with such gusto. Looking forward to seeing you for the launch in Brooklyn."
Yeah, it's very exciting. Mark is one of the sweetest guys I know. Super talented guy. Bit of a car fanatic. He has this beautiful, I'm not sure exactly what kind of car it is, but it's this beautiful classic car in his segment that's actually electric. So it's been upgraded to have a whole electrical system in it. And it's just so beautiful. And that was one of my, something we haven't exactly released yet that I hope will be released at some point. I actually did not only the pre-production poster and then the official poster, which is out now, but I also did a series of 8 individual posters for each of the shorts that we'll be releasing later, hopefully. And one of my favorite ones to illustrate was Mark's because of that car and some of his other visuals. Just a really beautiful short. Actually, every short in this thing is so amazing. You know, we got so lucky with who was in the room that day. You know, and I have to mention all of them quick. There's Haley Bishop, who starred in Host, and is an amazing actress as well as a writer and director. Mark, who we mentioned, Stephen Keller, who works in art department and production design on a lot of Netflix shows actually, but also like just killed it with his short Earworm. Kimberly Elizabeth, who did one of my favorite ones. It's kind of almost like a Beetlejuice type thing with ghosts. It's very fun. She's also Kimmy Kill Zombie, who does Nightmare on Film Street, which is a cool podcast. Jason Wilkinson, who we talked about. Greg Green, who's an amazing writer. He worked with his partner Wes Driver, who directed his short The Keeper, which is a very classic, almost Hammer horror, you know, kind of like slow boil things that pays off very well in the end. And then there was Nicole Carlson, who actually started off as a PA on my short, and she worked so hard, Steve. It was crazy. She was like a blur doing the job of like 10 people. You know, she's mopping up blood, she's doing this, she's doing that. I was like, wow, Nicole's really killing it. And I guess, you know, Michael and Seb, who were on set for my shoot, they noticed and they talked to her, and she had a script, and she was doing like an indie or a Kickstarter to raise money to do a short at the time. And it just happened to dovetail perfectly into what we were doing. So she got included as well and did a fantastic job with her short, Maternally Damned. Yeah.
Wow. What an all-star lineup. And
it's crazy. Yeah. It's like we got so lucky just randomly who was in that room.
Can you imagine? I mean, seriously, the transition and the turnaround of what the film and television industry is like now. I'm going to tell you, the reset that the pandemic has caused all around, I see, you know, once again, to anyone that it did not turn in your favor in a positive way, I completely understand it. There are people that I know that are close to me personally to where they did not, see the benefits of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if, with all due respect, I will say that there was a lot to where we really went into a reset, and, to really look at how that reset has really, brought us together, what it's done on the Clubhouse app, what it's done on other apps, how people are really utilizing social media and understanding, instead of being within sensationalism and being very self-directed to oneself, there is this camaraderie, just like what you have, Jason, and your other colleagues, to where people have found a way to come together and thought to, how can we be a unit and a unity?
I mean, we formed a family.
Yeah.
It's like we've basically been living in each other's ears, like every day after work. We open a room, we're all hanging out in there. We have our core group, and then we have our meetings, our Zoom meetings. It's so amazing because when you think about where that technology was, like Zoom just happened to hit, and Clubhouse came a little shortly after, right at the exact right time for all this, and it's just brought the world closer. Everybody can work remotely now. Like we were able to do the whole production for Symphony remotely around the world. Mark's in London or in the UK. Haley's in the UK. We had people all around the country. But we're all right there in the Zoom meeting and just, figuring the stuff out and then going off and doing our own thing and reporting back and sharing the data or whatever else to get it all done. It really has just brought, even though it kind of isolated us in a way, it forced us to reach out and connect, worldwide through technology. And I think, at least for me, it was pretty extraordinary experience. And I don't know what it would have been like, honestly, that kind of isolation without something like Clubhouse. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't be sitting here, talking about this awesome project. And, I probably would have gone, I don't know, crazy. Like maybe I'd just be like some cave dwelling creature now. I don't know. I mean, think about that. Just not being able to talk to anyone and being locked inside, I think would be just horrifying. But yeah.
Are you still, I'm going to be transparent. I'm not on Clubhouse as much as I used to be. I think it's
because I think we met on Clubhouse.
We did. And it was really doing, I'm just going to be transparent. It was at its best when I met you on Clubhouse. Now it's, it's changed a lot. So are you still on there? Is it working?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a secret about Clubhouse, Steve, that I can tell you.
Okay.
It's not like the other social media platforms, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about volume. It's not about having thousands of followers or like reaching a ton of people. It's about creating a core group of professionals or a social group, people that you really bond with, that you then collaborate with, you do projects with, you get business deals going with, or you just hang out. It's about finding your tribe and spending time with them and having access to them wherever you are, whatever you're doing. That has been the strength for us. Like our favorite rooms have maybe 6 to 12 people in them. That's our core group. But we also have, the guys who actually started the kind of horror community or the film community on Clubhouse were Jed Shepard and Alex Neuer, and then Sebastian Bazile and a few others. And basically, Alex and Jed had a room called Shorts to Features that was on Mondays at 3 p.m. That still happens occasionally, but it would be great if they happened more often because I really miss it. That basically gave advice to people about how to make like a 2 to 3 minute or like 3 to 5 minute short film, and how to then leverage that into making a feature, their first feature, which was an amazing thing. And both Jed and Alex had done that, Alex had directed Sound of Violence, which was, premiered at like South by Southwest, had Jasmine Savoy Brown in an amazing film for people that haven't seen it. I believe that one was available on Hulu through like Showtime, and then you could always rent it. Really, really amazing film about a woman who has synesthesia and gets this elation from the sound of violence and the sound of skulls crushing and people suffering. It's really intense. And then Jed was a writer on the film Host and then Dashcam, which are two of the best found footage films made ever. Like I think Host is rated as the scariest film by science. Like it was actually like they put like heart monitors or something on people, and it just scared them more than every other film. I guess it just narrowly beat Sinister, I believe, which is pretty amazing accomplishment. But yeah, so the other room was Jed's Clubhouse of Horror, I believe was the name of it, and that was on Thursdays, and that would be at like 4. But he'd have these amazing guests like Barbara Crampton and Kelly Maroney and Bonnie Aarons, and all of these amazing like horror, royalty from around the world. And those people showed up to our events. When we went to Comic-Con and into LA, we actually got to hang out with them. And there's pictures of all that on my Instagram. And it's just been such an extraordinary thing. I got to go have drinks with the nun from The Conjuring. She's like taking photos, and she's the sweetest woman in the world. Like Bonnie's amazing. I can't wait to work with her, Barbara, and Kelly in the future. But I grew up watching these films, and it was just such an amazing thing. To as someone who grew up in Connecticut and was pretty far from the film industry growing up. Now I'm in San Francisco. I go back and forth to LA, and I work at Halon, which works on major motion pictures. But like. When I started out just wanting to make films in Connecticut, I couldn't have been farther from, my goal or like, I didn't know anybody in the industry. It was nothing like that, so having something like Clubhouse where I'm actually talking to some of my, some of the filmmakers that I look up to and the actors that I think are amazing, that I've always wanted to work with, that I've seen all their films, being able to kind of touch that and be a part of that and get to know them has just been, such a cool experience and has helped my work. It's helped inspire me, and it's filled me with confidence and just, a lot of drive to get awesome stuff written and made so that I can keep kind of climbing up and get to work with everybody and just make cool stuff and hopefully scare the hell out of people, ideally.
I'm going to tell you, I'll let you know if you scared me. I will.
Please do. Yeah. Just give me it'll be like a Rotten Tomatoes rating for fear. You can just give me a percentage,
Well, let me tell you this. I'm not going to do what they do on IMDb and other platforms. I don't need to mention, but we all know that they give ratings before the film is even released.
And they're so low. The IMDb ratings are lower than any other rating. I don't know where they come up with them or what kind of anger inspires. Like, it'll be a really good movie too, and it'll be like a 6.
Yeah.
Like, well, how did they get to that number? Like,
oh my goodness, that is insane. Oh,
it is. It is.
It is so refreshing to have you back on. I'm just going to go ahead and, as they usually say in Clubhouse, I'm going to reset the room, but we're not resetting Jason. We have writer, director, illustrator Jason Ragosta. Jason is a horror writer, director, and illustrator. Can we add producer? You're producing, right?
I do. Yeah, I produce with my producing partner, Marissa Garay, who's amazing. She has a company called Garbo Films. She was the producer on ZTV and Mother Love, and another film that we're currently in post-production on called The Alchemist's Daughter. And hopefully as we move into features next, that'll be what we'll be doing next, producing together. So yes. And then also Crystal McKnight was another producer on the film. And then Margaret Carrigan. Oh my God, Margaret. So she is the owner and operator of Pandora Effects, which does all of our special effects and creatures on basically all my films, going all the way back to Boy in the Dark. But she's also kind of a producer in her own way sometimes on some of the projects. And with Mother Love, which was my segment of Symphony, it was a family affair because, Margaret was heading up the makeup department and like doing all the makeup effects, and her and I designed the clown mask for the killer that's featured in all the all of the, in the trailer and all of the branding for Symphony, like the frames they've shown so far for the release. We custom made that. Like I did some concept art, she did the sculpt, and we custom built that mask and that character, which was so much fun. And also I think Walter Welsh helped as well. He ran the mask and when they actually did the mold. Margaret and Walter were both on the show Face Off, which was really cool, and a lot of their people are from that. But also Margaret's son Rurik is in the film, and he did an amazing job. And directing like a 5-year-old was a journey. But I knew Rurik very well because I pretty much his like godfather. So I know him. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to direct him, but more create scenarios where he can kind of do his thing, and we would wrap that around it. And boy, did he deliver. I won't give any spoilers, but when our short ends, I think Rurik has one of the greatest moments that really surprises people and have reacted very strongly to. And then Margaret's husband, Tony Aldrich, he played the killer, the guy in the clown mask, which worked out really well because when he's grabbing the kid and stuff, it's his son. So he's not as afraid. And then Tony also is an amazing blood guy. Like he can make blood perform, and he can do it on the first take, second take, we're out. Like the guy nails it every time. He's one of my favorite people, as is Margaret and Rurik. But yeah, it was such a tight knit group that we had. And then working also with Christine Garilaga, our lead. She's an amazing actress. I mean, she gives the fear and the whole Scream Queen vibe, but she also comes off tough and dangerous and scary. She had this whole range, and then the emotional, dramatic aspects of her being a mother to Rurik's character. I mean, she just delivers so much in such a short amount of time with so little dialogue that it's really amazing. And then also she's a writer director in her own right. It's basically a shooting star. I mean, she's going to be doing features very soon, I think. And she works very closely with her partner, Stephen Krimmel, as well. And currently, Steve and I are doing a little short. We're doing a little, well, it's not exactly found footage, but we're doing a little short together that I'm really excited about as well.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. And thank you to Mark Pritchard. I did invite him to be to be a guest on my show, and
he'd make a great guest.
He said, "Thank you. That's very kind. I love to." So, Mark, if you're listening, we will set up the details. And once again, we've got Jason Ragosta. I consider him a friend. Definitely, I don't say that loosely. I do consider him a friend. He has written and directed multiple short films, including Boy in the Dark, ZTV, Symphony for the Devil, and Mother Love. If you have any questions or any comments, please head on over to power985.com. Click the bottom icon in the right-hand corner. Send us your questions, comments. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is not only do we love to hear from our listeners, current and new, and if you're a fan of Jason and any of his work, please let us know. And we happen to have a question for you from Aubrey from Wisconsin. She says that she is a huge Robert Englund fan. She would like to know, would you ever consider working with Robert Englund, Rob Zombie, or Quentin Tarantino?
Oh, yeah. I love all those guys. I would love to work with any of them or all of them. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what's amazing, if you remember, and thank you for the question, Aubrey,
Thank you, Aubrey.
I had said that when we were on a phone call with Jason, that take Quentin Tarantino and Rob Zombie and put them together, and that's you.
I remember that. Yeah, you did say that.
Robert Englund, I like that one. And you did mention about Nightmare on Elm Street, I guess the podcast. So do you have connections, with Robert Englund? Is that somebody that you would strongly, be working with?
I think, once Symphony comes out, and then, it's still kind of up in the air what my first feature will be, but I have a pretty good idea because I might be writing it right now. I just started it yesterday. Once I get into a certain position, I could approach someone like Robert Englund and hopefully work with them. He just did an amazing job in Stranger Things, in the last season of Stranger Things, and is still killing it. I grew up watching Freddy. Dream Warriors was one of my favorite films. All those crazy quips and kills. It was so imaginative and like gross. And I still remember the Roach Motel one, and the one when he brings the arms out of the TV and puts her head through it. And the puppet in Nightmare 3, when he shows up and kind of cuts his own strings, he's creeping around.
Oh,
so
God,
much cool
memories.
Stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. My friend Danielle, she had me watch that, and I'm going to tell you, I enjoyed it, but I did do everything to not be freaked out of like that being a possibility.
That one is genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
It gets inside your head. Even the way people die, like when that poor woman, she's being rolled across the walls and blood's coming out of her and you see her getting cut. It's just like, A, how are they even doing this? And B, that is terrifying. And the other guy's just freaking out. And I'm like, yeah.
Seriously.
And you just can't get away from him, because you got to sleep at some point. It's just a ticking clock, no matter how much coffee you drink or whatever else. He is waiting at the end of that that line.
The way you put it, it brings me back to the memories of, I'm going to be honest. I said a prayer. I really did. I said a prayer that would not, things can be very subjective and suggestive. Yeah. And just at that time, remembering when that film, came out and everything, I was emotionally and mentally sensitive at that time. It wasn't too long to when, it was like what, in the 1980s, I think I was still in foster care or something. And, or I was adopted at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was still recovering from my past. And it was a mind fuck for me. I'm going to be honest after I watched it.
God, yeah. I mean, I think it was a mind fuck for all of us. But yeah, think about it. A kid alone at night in their dark room, that's what Boy in the Dark was, my short. It was about that. Also in my TEDx talk that I did on storytelling, the opening of that was a story from my childhood and me being terrified in the dark with this overactive imagination and coupled with insomnia, right? I couldn't go to sleep. I'm terrified of the dark and I'm just staring into it and things are coming out of the dark at me. It's psychological, but it's like night terrors. It's like, that kind of sleep paralysis. It's scary shit.
Seriously?
I'm not allowed to.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Really?
It's, yeah. So in the opening of my TEDx talk, you'll hear the story from my life. And then a friend told me, oh, you should turn that into a film. And that's what Boy in the Dark was. It was like a fictionalized version of it, which was cool. So I feel you, as far as, something like Freddy. Yeah.
I wonder if you shared about that on the last interview that we had.
I think I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I must have mentioned it, I would imagine. Maybe.
But to hear it now, it's powerful.
Yeah, well, we're talking about it in context and then connecting it to Freddy Krueger and being hunted that way would be, that's scary stuff. And then, with your own trauma that you dealt with and dealing with that, I bet, especially as getting adopted and everything else, just the feeling of being alone in the dark must have been terrifying.
Yeah. And just the fact of, growing up in the environment that I did, talk about sleep deprivation. I experienced that because you never know what could happen and where you could be. It took at times for me to fall asleep. I had to be completely emotionally and mentally exhausted. I mean, so exhausted to where, when you pass out and you didn't realize you passed out.
Yep.
That's the type of environment I grew up in.
Yeah, because if you don't feel safe, how are you supposed to close your eyes and be trusting enough to be able to sleep? For me with the insomnia, it's the same thing. I basically, and it still goes on. Like I'm up till 5 or 6 in the morning every night until I'm just exhausted, and then I go to sleep. That's how I get all this stuff done, though.
Do you do chamomile tea, or do you do anything to help with that?
No, I actually go Like my thing is like I try to stay sharp because I just know that I can't sleep until then anyway. So I'm more like coffee, Red Bull, just so I can stay like razor sharp when I'm writing or illustrating or whatever I'm doing. Back in the day, I used to do stop motion animation for Lego. So that took a lot, so I'd be slamming the Red Bulls for that. But
Really?
now I don't need it every night though. Like depending on what I'm doing, if I'm drawing, I'm usually fine. It's writing, I got to stay like fully sharp. So I can't be at all kind of drowsy at all, or even just a little out of it. So that's when I'll hit the sugar-free Red Bulls or some coffee or something. But, what's funny is whether I take it or not, I don't go to sleep until, at least 4 a.m., 4 to 6.
Every night?
Yeah. But it's fine because what I found is I only need 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I actually operate better that way. Back when I was a kid and I used to sleep like 8 hours or more, I would be tired all day. I was like groggy. It was like too much sleep for me, but I didn't know at the time. And then once I discovered that, like I could run really well on 3 to 4 hours, and that comes from doing films, right? Like if you're going to set, you have an early call time or whatever, you discover that you sometimes don't need as much sleep, I guess. But that's how I found out.
You look really good for someone that gets 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, because there would be no way in hell I would do that. No.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's different for everyone. I wouldn't advocate for that for everyone. It needs to feel right. You know what I mean? Like if you wake up and you're tired, then it's the wrong amount, whatever that was. So, yeah.
God bless you. Seriously.
Oh, thank you.
So we know that you've got a premiere in New York. You're doing something in LA. Share that with us.
In LA?
How can people, or like, is it open to the public for the New York premiere? Are you doing something in LA?
The New York premiere, it's New York and then Columbus, Ohio, is what we have currently. So we have the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival is open to the public. We'd love to see you guys there. Anybody who wants to come, it's going to be in Brooklyn or New York on October 15th. Like I said, it's at 3:25 in the afternoon, so it's actually an early one. And it's gonna be so cool to see it on the big screen. That's the way to see it if you can. And then we have the other event at the Nightmares Film Festival. It'll be someday between October 20th and the 23rd. We'll be announcing that soon, and that's in Columbus, Ohio.
But there is no LA premiere just yet, or there's not going to be at all.
Currently, there is not a public LA premiere. But if something changes, we will be announcing it. If people follow. But there will be also the wide release on October 21st. So that one will be available around the world, probably, at least on streaming, and then for the theaters will be more like kind of limited theatrical in different places around the country in the U.S.
Any closing thoughts, Jason?
Just that, I got so lucky that day, being in the room, getting to work with all these amazing people, getting to know them, they're like, we have our Symphony horror family now. And it's just so cool just getting to be a part of it and getting to hang out with these people and do something cool. And then I'm also working on features with my writing partner, Patrick Archer. We've completed 2 feature scripts so far, and we've got like 13 to go or something. It's crazy. The guy just keeps coming up with ideas. He's like a little, just like a gumball machine for ideas. He just keeps popping them out, and they're really cool. So, we'll get going, and then we're like, oh wait, what about this one? And we're breaking stories, and that's what we do at like 2 in the because he's up in Canada and on a different schedule. But yeah, super excited to really get my hooks into some features next and get away from the shorts, although we're still doing shorts for fun and just to get stuff out there.
Have you ever thought about doing a 24-hour film? Have you ever done that or seen that?
Oh yeah, I've seen people do that, and that's cool. I think that's a really good thing for new people to film, because it kind of shows them that it can be done like that. For me though, a lot of the times it's like, if I'm going to put the resources and everything towards a film, I'm going to want to focus on getting it right and not have it be just a product of whatever weird words they throw at you or whatever it is, That's what's kind of put me off from the 24-hour and the 48-hour things. And some people can't really handle 48 hours not sleeping. That can get messy, and then crews drive home, like tired, which is dangerous. So I don't know. I I try to get my people out on time. We try to do more like 10 to 12-hour days.
Well,
I get what you mean. I totally get what you mean, though.
And once again, big shout out to Aubrey in Wisconsin, and big shout out to Mark Pritchard. I love when we get this. All right, he commented. He went online. He went to power985.com, and he sent in a comment. He says, "This is Mark Pritchard. Just to say that Jason Ragosta was pretty much single-handedly responsible for the entire anthology being invited to panel at San Diego Comic-Con, which led us continue to punch above our weight for an indie anthology. That, in addition to creating the bulk of our collective artwork, almost enough for us to forgive him having the longest runtime in the anthology.
Oh, he's still coming at me.
We're tight as a family, but competitive."
I love you, Mark. Yeah, but to be fair, though, I wasn't single-handedly. I did, come up with the idea to do it, and I submitted the application. But I was armed with all the great stuff that him and Jason had done, and with the imagery, and then what Michael did with that trailer, because I was able to send links to the Fangoria, and also a huge thanks to Fangoria for supporting us and really kind of launching us in the beginning and giving the initial press to us. It was so cool of them. We love everybody over there. And also they came to our premiere, like Angel, and it's just so cool of them to take an interest in our project, and then all the other horror outlets have been picking it up and sharing it as well. So it's just been really cool. And we're just super excited about it. But yeah, doing the panel was like, it was kind of mind blowing. We're like this little indie horror film that gets to do a panel at Comic-Con. It was a decent sized room. We had fit like 50 people or something. It's crazy. So it was pretty cool.
I appreciate you, Mark, for that that dropper. What do you want to call it? A spoiler alert. We had a spoiler alert here. Thank you, Mark Pritchard.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I'll call it a spoiler alert. That's what they usually say in media. I guess, spoiler alert, like something like, check this out. It's a positive thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Jason Ragosta, writer, director, producer, and illustrator for all things Jason Ragosta. You can head on over to his Instagram, Jason Ragosta, JASONRAGOSTA. Your Facebook, Jason, is jason.ragosta, RAGOSTA. And then we've got Twitter, Jason Ragosta. Any closing thoughts?
Just that it's always a pleasure, Steve, to get to talk to you. And thank you so much for having me out and letting me talk about our fun little horror film that will be hitting the world very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for everyone for tuning in today, live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio. Mark Pritchard, Aubrey from Wisconsin, thank you for the comments and the share. And I'm saving that message from Mark. I like that. That was really good.
Mark's awesome. He's one of my favorite people.
I can't wait to have him on.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's fantastic. And he has so many cool projects and things to talk about. He'd be amazing.
And he's in the UK.
He is. Yeah.
Okay. That's why. They got a great personality, so, hey.
He definitely lives up to that.
Anything else you want to share before we close? And I know you got a 2 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I basically, the big thing is Symphony and our release and our festival premieres. If you're in the area and you're able to do that, then come out and see us. We're going to be doing Q&As. We'll be there in person. And then also, when the film comes out on October 21st, we can really use everybody to stream it that weekend, right away. It helps us get onto like like with the algorithm and stuff, or like leave reviews, especially if you like it, and on Amazon or wherever else. And yeah, just please come and check out our film. It started with just a bunch of people in a room that just decided to do something creative. Very little money was spent on it. It's like a fraction of the budget that would be for most feature films. But it's already grown into such an amazing thing. I mean, God, theatrical release. I could never imagine it in 1,000 years that it would ever be in theaters when we did it. We always thought it would go straight to streaming, but along the way, people were just like, hey, wait, this is actually good. And it just kind of keeps climbing, like what Mark was saying about punching above our weight. We've done that consistently from the beginning, and we've just climbed this mountain to where now we're here. And we're just super excited to share it with the world.
Having this relationship, this friendship with you and where we're at, and from how we started several years ago, it's really, truly an honor. Like when I watch your film, I'm going to watch it in such a way because it really is a privilege. I don't know if most people know this, but to know somebody who is part of the project, the writer, producer, director, the music score, actors, all the above, it really enhances and emphasizes the feeling and the mood and the connection to the film and to the project when it's watched.
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually our composer, David Feslian, did an amazing job. He scored my short and a bunch of the other ones and kind of served as the overall composer. And, music is a very big part of Symphony, as you can imagine from the title. And there's this very special song in it that has a special version in each short that will make a very awesome playlist at some point. And each one's unique and very cool. And so thank you, David. You did a great job.
Can you give us one more time, Jason, the information to the film festival?
Yeah, so it's the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival, which will be Saturday, October 15th at 3:25 p.m. EST. And tickets are available to purchase along with festival passes through a link in my link tree on Instagram, if anybody's looking for it. And then also for the Nightmares Film Festival, that one will be taking place from October 20th to the 23rd, 23rd, in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm not sure exactly what day or time yet, but we'll be announcing that as soon as it comes out. And then it will be released in theaters and VOD streaming October 21st.
Awesome. And all great things, Jason Ragosta. Instagram and Twitter, Jason Ragosta. JASON RAGOSTA, and Jason's Facebook is Jason.Ragosta. Thank you again for being with us today. It is truly an honor to be here, and I'm really surprised of how you guys were able to pull this all together in such a short amount of period of time for this project.
Pretty wild, huh?
Very wild, very unheard of.
Thank you so much, Steve, and the honor is mine. Absolutely. Always.
Thank you. Thank you again to everyone. Mark Pritchard, Aubrey out of Wisconsin. You guys help make this station, Power 98.5 satellite radio, what it is today. Check our schedule, power985.com. Go to live radio or listen live. And you'll be able to see the schedule, all upcoming shows, Catherine and Company, Resilient You with Alicia Pazzoni, and more. We have upcoming, we just had Oliver Trevena today. We had Jason Ragosta today. We've got Isaiah Campbell on the 29th at 1 p.m. Pacific. We got Sean Say, October 6th, 12 p.m. Pacific, and more. Thank you for being part of our family, as we appreciate you and all that you do in the world. Jason Ragosta and Mark Pritchard and everyone else, thank you for being you, and we look forward to having you on our show now and always. And in the future, you are here with us live on air with Stephen Cook on power985.com.
On your socials, and let's connect.